mix of primary or secondary resources. So primary is kind of anything that you self-generate, and secondary can be reflection on any research that you found. So if you have starting points, Lucy, you can't hear. That's a bit unfortunate. Can everyone hear me? If you just want to put in the chat if you can hear me, and if you can't, that'd be really, really helpful before we move forward. Can you all hear me? You can hear me, Carolina? Anyone else? Is everyone okay? Can you hear me? I'm not quite sure why you can't hear me. Yeah, again, as Sarah said, do come back in and come back out, and do check your settings, and do let me know if the problems are persisting. Again, guys, primary resources, so anything that you can self-generate that will help you your research. And maybe you have some questions that you want to interview someone with, maybe there's some stats that you want to generate, and you need to work through that. So again, just think about how you're going to kind of generate your primary resources, because that is really important and a really necessary part of this essay. And then any kind of wider cultural or historical study themes. And so on the Moodle, there are kind of starting points that you can kind of go and review if they are relevant to your chosen topic, and they just kind of really kind of quite wide theories that we can locate your essay in, and that'll just be really helpful, because then, for me, maybe if I don't know about your topic, I can then just do some research about the larger theory, and we can still have a conversation. And just to address kind of anyone that's having any ongoing issues, we are recording the sessions and it will be uploaded to Moodle, so don't worry if you have to do this at another time. You've got the week to kind of go through and, again, bounce any questions to me or Sarah if you have any, or if anything wasn't made very clear. So then moving forward then, resources on Moodle. So again, I really hope that you all have had a chance to go on Moodle. The particular section for contextualizing your practice is all generated now, so that's all free for you guys to go through. I do really encourage you to go through it, remove from this session as well, just so you can see where everything is. There's really good resources through the library, just understanding where your tutorials will be and how you'll get there. Oh, great, that you can hear me. Again, it's recorded, so don't worry that you've missed a bit of it. You can touch back at any point in the coming few days. Again, yes, guys, there's Moodle, and there's just some really good resources where your unit handbook will be. It will signpost to everything you read for the coming few weeks. So again, if anything you can't find, do drop either myself or Sarah a message, and we will signpost you to it. But just have a look around, just be a bit nosy, and just, even if it's not relevant to you, you dive in and see if it can be of some use to you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you my screen, and particularly on the Moodle page, and I'm going to familiarize you with, in particular, the unit handbook, which relates to this particular unit. So if you bear with me for 1 second, I will swap that out. Okay, I hope everyone can see my screen. Do let me know in the chat if you can see it. So this is the Moodle page. This is your general Moodle page. And again, we've got the Culture Historical Studies tab, and this is the Contextualizing Your Practice unit. So let's just go in as an example. If we go into the actual unit in particular, you've got everything you need housed in here. So you've got tabs for briefing, tabs that will help you with particularly your primary research and secondary research, both of which are compulsory within your essay. So do kind of go through those and figure out if there's any kind of primary research that you can use to kind of bolster your essay. Additional reading resources, again, this is really, really valuable, guys, particularly if you're not really sure about your topic yet. Just go through it. Maybe it might give you some good ideas about what you may want to write about moving forward. We've got some past student essay examples, and they're really wonderful, so I really do implore that you check them out. They're really widely versed and really not what you would expect as well, so you guys can really have fun with this. So don't worry too much about any of that. Sarah, what did you write in the chat? I'm just checking back and forth. They won't see all the other courses. Yes, exactly. So this only because obviously I'm tutor. I've got the a much wider birth of things here. But again, anything relevant to you guys, it will be there for you. So don't worry too much if you log in and there's things that you don't see that are being seen here. But again, library resources, anything for academic report and assessment guidelines, and then particularly going into the fashion design and development section. This will be helpful for you guys in terms of looking at the handbook The webinar schedule, again, these will be for your tutorial starting in week 3. Again, and just any of the tutors that you maybe have. So this is my particular room. And so when you click on here, you should go through to, you can go through and, that's where we'll be holding tutorials and stuff. But again, don't worry too much about that. I'm just looking back at the chat. Yes, again, so as Sarah was saying, just familiarize yourself with the resources, and really if there's anything you really don't understand or you're really finding quite difficult, please do get in touch. We will help you through that process. So as an example, I'm going to go into the unit handbook for today's session. I hope everyone can see that. Let me know if you can't in the chat. Again, unit leader is Sarah, who's we're lucky enough to have in our session today. I'll be the tutor. I'm just reading out the introduction. So contextualizing your practice allows you to build on historical and theoretical understanding of fashion through a research-led extended essay. So again, yeah, the emphasis on extended essay. You as yourselves will identify a topic related to your field of practice that you investigate through an independent research project underpinned with cultural and critical theory. So again, this is just kind of the bare bones of the essay. So you need to make sure that whatever you're talking about, you have research both primary and secondary that supports your argument in whatever you're trying to discuss. This is an opportunity for you to undertake a substantial piece of structured research that examines fashion practice in the context. It will build on the critical debates and concerns raised throughout your course. So again, it's a real good way to consolidate everything that you've learned in the last 2 years and to just have fun with the essay that you're really interested in, and that relates to your practice, which is always good. Coming from a fine art background, sometimes you were given topics that you had no interest in, so you're very lucky to be tasked with actually self-organizing a topic that you really like. Again, just make note, everyone, this is a 4,500 word essay, and it will be presented in academic format. So it will include bibliography and references. And then moving down, these are just some of the bare bones about what the essay is going to look like. So again, if you guys could have this open and go through maybe a bit later today, as I know I'm going to probably go through it a bit quicker than you might find helpful, just thinking about how your essay should be presented in terms of font and sizing, double spacing and page numbers, and making sure that you have the relevant details to you as a student, so your ID number, your tutor that helps you, particularly your year of study. Again, these are just really conventions of submitting any essay, so don't worry too much about these. Please know that we, that UAL, apologies, submit by Turnitin, which is actually located on the Moodle. So again, do seek that out so you know actually where you'll be submitting. But again, this is something that can be actually negotiated at a later stage, as we're not anywhere close to submitting right now. But again, needs to be submitted via a Word doc or a PDF and no larger than 100 megabytes. So again, if everyone can just be mindful of these conditions when thinking about submitting. More particularly, we then have a schemes of work kind of table here. So just thinking about, this is week 1, the week commencing October 19th, and this is the group webinar where you all meet each other, you'll meet your tutors, we'll go through some of the resources on Moodle. Again, guys, unit handbook, this will give you everything you need. So even if you have questions removed from this, please do keep this close to hand if you have to download it, and just refer back to it if anything's kind of confusing the timeline for the coming weeks. We're going to go through CYP guidelines in the coming presentation, a bit about tutorials, library and academic support, which is its own presentation, any ways that we can help you develop your essay proposal in the meantime. So again, areas of self-directed study, familiarize yourself with Moodle, the guidelines. There are a few resources that I know the library have put on there that will help you in terms of proper referencing and citation, and just work through your proposal as was previously said. I'm not going to go into much detail about the next week's, but just recognize that next week is another tutorial where we will be finalizing your proposal. So again, keep that in mind. And then don't worry about these dates too much, because I will prompt you in terms of the tutorials you'll actually be having. But in the first week of November or the second week of November, we're going through your essay proposals. And again, this will just be a back and forth kind of dialogue between you and I as tutor and student. But please know I do have a lot to learn as well. So if there's anything that you can educate me on, I'd be really open to hearing about that and kind of really working alongside you to build my knowledge as well. So don't think about this as having to be like a really, really formal presentation. Just an opportunity for us to have an ongoing conversation about your essays and what you want to talk about. So again, if you bring 2 or 3 academic texts and plan any research that you have. Just some things about what Sarah might be saying in the chat. So I guess familiarizing yourself with Moodle, and any topics that you have, will really kind of just throw them at us. You'll be surprised what we know as tutors. And just to know that tutorials, one-to-one tutorials in particular, do start in week 3. And so don't worry about any of that right now, because tutors will be allocating slots and sending you prompts closer to the time. So again, don't bog yourself down that too much. Just the next few weeks, do some self-directed study and work on kind of developing as many ideas as you can as possible. There will be an opportunity in a few weeks' time to watch some methods of inquiry lectures. Those will be recorded, so no pressure in terms of joining, particularly if you're in a different time zone. They will be flagged, and you will probably receive a few emails about that and how to join and what they will be about. But they will just be outlining different research methods and ways of collecting primary and secondary resources. So again, do keep an eye out for those, and I would get involved in those, because they will be really, really helpful for you in terms of your research moving forward. Again, we're really lucky to have Sarah in our group today, and she'll be doing the lectures on research methods. So Sarah's a really amazing researcher, and so I do implore you to kind of go check those out whenever you can. Again, moving forward, we have a few more tutorials in the next week of November. So these will be every other week, I believe. So again, it will just give you some time between conversations to have some more self-directed study and to develop your ideas on your own. But again, throughout that time, please do send emails if you're having any struggles. I understand what the climate is like right now in terms of COVID, so don't worry. Whilst kind of Mondays will be our main access day, and in the rest of the week, just please do get in touch, as there is time allocated throughout the week to help with anything removed from your essay as well. So please do keep in touch with me. My email will be in one of the slides later on, and I'll put that up for you. Again, the next week we'll be doing evidence of reading and primary research, which is a really integral part of your extended essay. So again, with guidance from your tutor, you will develop a theoretical framework from your reading. These are just a set of theoretical concepts that you can use to really interpret whatever that is that you want to speak about. And this will lead you into the Christmas break, where this will be probably your biggest chunk of self-directed study. Again, any worries about that and around that, please do get in touch, and we will be mindful about those who probably need a bit of extra assistance. If you have any specific learning agreements that have been arranged, we'll be aware of all of those things. Again, if you just need a bit of an extra hand, we're on hand to help. Again, and then leading up to the 14th of December, which is the week before we leave for Christmas, a final group tutorial where we'll be looking at structuring your essay, how to really begin writing your essay, practicing and formatting citation, particularly around consent forms, if you've used maybe a questionnaire as a form of primary research, and just making any acknowledgement that you want to within the essay. So I don't know if you've seen a book and it said, I'd like to dedicate this piece of writing to A, B, and C. You're more than welcome to be adding those into your essays, which is a really lovely touch. And then going into the winter break, so that will just be kind of, again, of self-directed study. I'm not going to go into January because I think it's a lot of information. So, but please do focus on these first 5 or 6 pages. If you have to make notes in your own way in terms of digestion, please do that. I recommend that you do that. And I particularly for PDFs, I do that. I make a separate document, maybe highlight key dates and just maybe one line specifically about what you need to be doing just to help your digestion. And do this maybe once a week for the following week, just to make sure that you're a bit well versed in what you need to be doing for that week. I wouldn't stress yourself with thinking too many weeks ahead, guys. Don't worry, we'll be on hand, and we'll be giving you enough prompts. That just focus on what you're doing now and what you need to do now, and we'll worry about what needs to come later. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to go back and share the presentation with you all, if you bear with me as I do that. Again,